Hello, guys, and welcome back to League One predictions. A bumper lot of predictions today because we've got three predictions for midweek and some big games to predict at the weekend, including the Battle of the Billionaires, the American Civil War Part 2. I'm joined, as always, by Benjamin Bloom. How are you?
Not like you to undersell a big game like that, Matt. The Battle of the Billionaires. That's actually absolutely tremendous. I'm looking forward to getting into that and all of the other League One fixtures.
Yeah, we'll go at a pretty quick pace today, guys. Be sure to share your predictions down below because there's a lot of games. Like I say, Wrexham v Birmingham is a real game that jumps off the page. The scores from last time are there. 5-2 to me. I mean, neither of us scores many points. It means I've opened up a 5-point gap over Ben, but still not a lot in that overall. And the final thing, guys, before we get into the predictions, once again, be sure to get involved. Drop a like. We really appreciate your support on the League One predictions, and be sure to subscribe to myself and Benjamin Bloom. Ben is in the first link of the description. And with all that said and done, Ben, we've got three games on Tuesday. Let's start with Bolton versus Charlton. I'll let you go first.
Oh, this is tricky, isn't it? Because you're going to think I'm going to say, oh, it's toxic at Bolton. Charlton are going to equalise in the last minute or worse, still win. But I've been peddling the narrative that Everett is just going to keep hanging on, which means there will be wins. So I'm going to go, even though some of the Bolton fans probably going to be like, come on, let's just get this done now. They need to, move to a new era because it's all a little bit toxic there. But I'm actually going to back Bolton, Matt, and he's going to hang on once more. It's Bolton 2, Charlton 1 for me.
Believe it or not, Ben, that is a scribble straight away.
Oh, you were going down the same route, were you? Interesting. Yeah. I thought you'd have gone for the carnage and a last-minute draw or something.
Well, so Charlton lost last week to Rotherham. Otherwise, they've been on a decent run. And Bolton, I completely agree with what you've just said. It feels to me that Ian Everett is always hanging on by the skin of his teeth. And that 2-2 at Cambridge won't have done him too many favours, although I think they equalised in the last minute. I still think the Bolton fans were singing for his exit. But I think they might get something. So I'll go for the 1-0 Bolton now then. I was going to have 2-1, but I'll go 1-0. And there you go, Bolton fans. You might not have expected that, but myself and Ben are both backing you to get the win and Ian Everett to stay for one more day. Let's go to the next one, Ben, which is Peterborough versus Exeter City. Exeter went away to Birmingham, Ben. They lost 1-0, put up a bit of a fight. I don't think they had too many shots, but I saw some of their fans online saying things that, they gave it a go, and that's as good as you could do against Birmingham at this level, I guess. Peterborough United, 0-0 against Orient. It's not like them, actually, to get a clean sheet and a goalless draw, but it's a point, and it moves them a bit further away from that bottom four. I'm going to go for another draw here, Ben. Neither of them finding wins at the moment, so I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay, I think I might take the Peterborough bounce back. I know they haven't won in ages, but it does feel like that squad and that club is underperforming at where they are right now. And Exeter, as you mentioned, okay, I'll accept your caveat of difficult fixtures, but I'm just going to go for the change to happen here. There's big problems at Peterborough if it doesn't. None of us really truly believe they're in a relegation fight, but the league table would tell us otherwise. So I'll back the posh and I'll say 2-0, Matt.
2-0 Peterborough. Okay. Next up then, guys, we go to the DW as Wigan Athletic take on Burton Albion. I don't know if I should tell you this, Ben, because you're not going to be too impressed, but you predicted Stevenage 1, Wigan 1, which it was until the 95th minute.
Standard.
Wigan snatched all 3 points. They're now at home to Burton, Ben. Surely you're going to back them for another win now.
I am. I must tell you, I was doing a watch-along of Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, and I had 2-0. And who was it? Tanaka scored in like the 94th minute. And you're trying to be excited because a goal's gone in a watch-along, but really you're going, wow, so close. So near, but yet so far. Good win for Wigan, wasn't it, to go to Stevenage and get the results. So a couple of wins in the past 4 for them. If you were in our seat, I know people always say in the comments, predictable, you're back against the bottom teams, back the top teams. But you would do exactly the same if you were presented with Burton's Roll of Honour this season. So I've got to back Wigan. Should we go for the Wigan floodgates to uncork? I've mixed my metaphors badly there, haven't I? The floodgates to open. There we go. And the bottle to uncork. Those are the two cliches. I'm going to go 3-1 Wigan. 4 goals in a Wigan game, Matt. That is bold, mate.
Yeah, I'm tempted to hand you a bonus point for that, but
no,
we're competitive
Stingy.
over here. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to do it. Similar lines of thinking. I've gone for the same deficit. I will play it slightly safer and say 2-0 Wigan. Big opportunity for them to get another 3 points, really, isn't it? And then they sort of move themselves into the middle of the table. I'm not too concerned about Wigan in relegation danger. They've opened up a 9-point gap. That bottom 4 are moving very slow, and Burton are one of them. Still, Ben, as we get towards the end of January, only 2 wins, which I'm not sure what the record is at this level for the fewest wins, but they're possibly close to it.
The comments will tell you, Matt. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'll let them. So 2-0, and then Ben, I am up first for Thursday's Battle of the Billionaires as Wrexham take on Birmingham City. This is really tough, isn't it? Because Wrexham at home is their strong suit, but Birmingham City are dishing out defeats to everyone. I'm kind of glad I'm up first for this because I'm going to sit on the fence, and I wonder if that might force your hand to go in a different direction. I'm going to go Wrexham 1, Birmingham 1. I just don't feel confident backing Birmingham to lose or Wrexham to lose at home, and that's where I'm going to keep it.
I am not going to be swayed by you. I was on an away win all the way through. I just think this is it now, isn't it? This is the point in the season where, and the table's a little bit padded by the 2 games in hand. It's a little bit, if you added on, say, 3 or 4 points for the 2 games in hand as well, Birmingham would already be, in open water out front, and we're expecting a 10 or 12 point title win, aren't we? I think the move is happening now, and I think the statement win comes here, and I think they do go to, if we clip all of this out, if Wrexham win, I think they do go to Wrexham and get the win. Will they get the clean sheet? No. So I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go Wrexham 1, Birmingham 2. By the way, I'm sure when I was watching WrestleMania when I was younger, they did a thing with Donald Trump and Vince
The Battle of the Billionaires.
Is it called the Battle of the Billionaires? Oh, there you go. I'm going to offer no comment here because I don't know which of these 2 characters you'd actually want to be. Probably neither, but let us know in the comments which one's Vince McMahon and which one's Donald Trump. Don't touch that, Matt. Let the comments do it.
I agree. I will let them have a frenzy on that.
A couple of interesting characters, those 2, yeah?
It's a great matchup, and really it could be a championship matchup next year. They could both go up. Birmingham, I think if I was forced to go for one, I probably would have lent towards Birmingham because they're just making it look quite routine. And I still don't think they've hit that top gear that we've spoken about where, in April, they might be dishing out 3-0s and 4-0s. They're not quite there
as well.
Yet.
The thing is, 1-1 is absolutely fine for Birmingham. They've beaten Wrexham at St Andrews. 4 points off them, win at home, draw away is fine. But the standard we're holding Birmingham to this season is we are expecting spectacular. And spectacular is 100 points, isn't it? And they need to win a lot of games to do that. So it just depends how you're judging it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And I think I'll put that to the comments. I think they might agree with that. Is a draw better for Birmingham because Wrexham are playing catch up now? It feels like a fork in the road, though. And if Wrexham get a win, that could open things up. And I will say, Ben, Birmingham's next game after this, Huddersfield away.
Huddersfield. Yeah.
So it could get interesting, but it's a good test for Birmingham City.
For a week anyway,
I know, that's it. Ben, you're up first for Cambridge United versus Mansfield.
Well, despite Cambridge getting that draw at Bolton, I think I'm going to back Mansfield for this one. I know they lost to Wycombe, but it was 3 wins in 4 before that, and a really good win at Stockport as well for Mansfield. Cambridge are languishing, and it's an 8-point gap now. They've got a game in hand, but game in hands, as we always say, mean less at the bottom than at the top because the points per game is. I mean, you can argue the reverse of that. That okay, if you win one of them, it makes more difference, but the likelihood of that happening is slim. We always like Mansfield, both teams to score, so I'm not going to go with that cliche, and I'll go for Mansfield to win 1-0. Cambridge 0, Mansfield 1.
Yeah, quite like that. I have gone for the cliche, Ben, and I'm agreeing with Mansfield to win. I'm going Cambridge 1, Mansfield 2. Cambridge will certainly be frustrated because they were leading at Bolton going into the 90th minute. As for Mansfield, I won't look too much into a defeat to Wycombe because obviously the standard that Wycombe are setting this season. Let's have a little look at the table. So yeah, Mansfield are 4 points off the playoffs with 2 games in hand on Stockport and Barnsley. So still in a very strong position when you look at it, and a winnable game. Next up, Ben, this is another interesting one as Huddersfield take on Bolton. Let me work this out. So I'm up first here. It's difficult when you're predicting a team twice in 1 week.
Yeah.
We've both backed Bolton to beat Charlton. If they've lost that Charlton game, it's possible that they could sack Ian Evatt before
Empty
this
dugout,
Yeah. Regardless, Huddersfield have done pretty well lately. They drew at Blackpool last time, Ben, but they did come from behind. Blackpool are a tricky customer, especially at their place. Huddersfield still have that game in hand on Wrexham and Wycombe, and if Wrexham don't win against Birmingham, they can certainly eat up ground on them. I'm going to be respectful to Bolton again and say it'll be a close game, but I've got to back Huddersfield. I'm saying 2-1 to the Terriers.
Yeah, agree with your logic. I'm also going to back Huddersfield, and I totally you don't know. We often get story time with Sam on my championship predictions where he winds some narrative for right. This is going to happen on Tuesday, then this is going to happen on Thursday. So that means my prediction for Saturday is this, and we have no clue set here right now what the lay of the land will be. What we do know is Huddersfield are in excellent form. They go in favourites. I think it was a big defeat at the tough sheet earlier in the season in the reverse. I think Huddersfield won quite handsomely. If I'm not misremembering that. So you've gone 2-1, Matt. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 Huddersfield.
Okay, yeah. I'll take the 2-0.
2-0. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I thought it was 4-0 to Huddersfield at Bolton, but was it? No, Bolton. Oh, see, they've also played in the EFL Trophy. Bolton beat Huddersfield 3-1 in that, but in the league, Huddersfield did win 4-0 at Bolton. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, next up, Ben, we go to Barnsley versus Stevenage, where you are up first. Barnsley lost last week, by the way.
Who'd they lose to? Bristol Rovers. Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise, and they've been on a win streak. That's not going to deter me. I'll call that an outlier and say that Barnsley will bounce back. Here we go. Tick it off on your bingo card. We prefer Stevenage at home. So I'll take Barnsley, and I'm going to take Barnsley comfortably, Matt. I'm going to take them 3-0. Sorry, Stevenage fans. Good luck. Flag that up if you win.
Yeah. Do you know what? When Barnsley lost 3-1 to Bristol Rovers last week, another thing that we could tick off the bingo card is we say Barnsley have got an odd result in them where they seem to be flying and then, they just sort of don't turn up in the odd game. But credit to Bristol Rovers. We'll come on to them in due course. But I'm not sure. I've got to admit, I was surprised that Stevenage had 3 goals in their game last week. That was quite something. I'm going to say even more this time. I mean, Stevenage, I tend to go low scoring, but Barnsley can be quite fun. So I'll go for my bonus point here, Ben. Barnsley 3, Stevenage 2. So beautiful, I'll go for some fun there. But yeah, going to back Barnsley to win. They're still flying. Next up, Ben, we go to the Pirelli. Again, Burton are playing. They are at home to Rotherham. And Rotherham keep on moving, Ben. We both backed them to beat Charlton last week. They did. They're 7 points off the playoffs with a game in hand.
Here he comes. Hey, here he comes, waddling up the touchline towards the playoffs. Here he comes. Am I up first, Matt?
No, I am. But I'll hand over to you because I'm going to fire in a Rotherham 2-0.
I was going to say, I bet you're going away with. You wouldn't be surprised, would you, if there's a run either close to or into the playoffs after a poor start for Rotherham and Steve Evans, and we've said we expect a busy January at some point, although that hasn't transpired just yet, has it? What did you say, Matt? Sorry, remind me.
2-0.
2-0. Okay, I'll go 1-0. I'll go a little bit tighter. Muscle memory. Burton 0, Rotherham 1.
Yeah, 3 points is 3 points, and Rotherham moving in when we didn't. I don't want to say we didn't expect it, but they were so far off that we thought it might be too much to sort of catch up on. But yeah, you think there's still 20 games to play. They've got a game in hand. I could definitely see Rotherham doing it. They've got to be one of the informed teams in the league now.
It's illegal for Rotherham not to finish in the top 6 when they're in League One, isn't it? It just never happens.
That's it. They're out of their comfort zone at the moment, but they're moving back in the right direction.
Yeah.
Ben, you're now up first for Charlton versus Shrewsbury.
And again, we're playing story time, aren't we? Because we've already predicted Charlton at Bolton, and I predicted they would lose. So Shrewsbury beat... Who did they beat? Was it Wrexham? They had a magnificent win, didn't we? And we toyed with the idea, didn't we? But again, the Birmingham one, I'm really sorry, Shrewsbury fans, but the Birmingham one was an outlier, wasn't it? And they didn't then, follow that up with a run of form. So I'm going to back Charlton. So I'm backing Charlton to lose and to win in this set of predictions. And I will go, do you know what? You've played a bonus point. I feel emboldened now. Let's do a silly one here. And let's go for 4-1. Charlton 4, Shrewsbury 1. And I'm thinking Charlton probably haven't scored a 4-1 all season, have they? Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but we have Charlton as low scoring, don't we?
That's it with Nathan Jones. Yeah, you got to give Shrewsbury credit, though. What a win against Rexam. But the wins are coming at home. It was a win against Birmingham, a win against Lincoln, and a win against Wrexham. So they seem to be beating some of the top teams
Matt,
there.
Before the comments kill me, 21st of December, Northampton 0, Charlton 5. So I'll take that back immediately.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. I'm going to go in a completely different direction. I feel like I've got to give Shrewsbury something. I do certainly feel a bit more confident with them at home, but Gareth Ainsworth's got them scrapping. And if they're just chucking on points every so often, they're 6 points off safety with a game in hand. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to give them something. It keeps them moving in the right direction, keeps that little bit of momentum when you're down at the bottom trying to scrap away. Charlton 1, Shrewsbury 1 is what I'm going to go for here. So, yeah, sorry, Charlton fans. That's 1 point from 2 games there from me. But at least Ben's backing you to beat Shrewsbury 4-1. Then I'm up first for Exeter City v Blackpool. Ben, it's story time again. Exeter playing midweek away at Peterborough, and now they're at home to Blackpool. Blackpool have drawn a lot of games, haven't they? Drawn 5 of the last 6. Exeter haven't drawn many this season in general. They've only drawn 4. I think I'm pointing towards a draw, though. I'm going to go 1-1 here, Ben.
Yeah, that's a scribble then for me. I was looking at the draw for this one. And again, you're right, Matt. This is having already predicted that Peterborough are going to get some kind of a bounce back win over Exeter in midweek. I better take the Desmond then, Matt. You've taken the 1-1, which would mean, what would it be? 5 draws in a row for Blackpool and 2 consecutive Desmonds, if I'm right. Which doesn't sound likely, but hey, all the fun of the predictions.
That's it. Okay, yeah, but it's sort of mid-table matchup at the minute, isn't it? So you've got Exeter in 16th place, Blackpool 14th. At the moment, they're both on 31 points. That's prior to Exeter playing Peterborough. They're in that mid-table bubble, Ben. They're both 10 points off the playoffs and 10 points above the bottom 4. So let's see where they get to. Ben, you're up first for Leyton Orient v Reading. This is a big game in the playoff race.
Oh, this is a great game, isn't it? So 7th versus 8th, but we've all been just blown away by Leyton Orient's run. I was sitting here thinking, right, I'm backing Leyton Orient every week until the run finishes. But then you look, I've got a memory though, I think they won at Reading earlier in the season, but that was before this big, do you remember they kind of like won a couple of games?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, then they had a bad run again and, then they've gone on this madcap run, Orient. So, no, do you know what? Being's there at home. No, I am going to back Leyton Orient, which would put them above Reading. Oh, yeah, they're tied on points. Oh, no. Sorry, they're 3 behind. So, yeah, on goal difference, it would put them above. Let's go Orient. Let's go 1-0. Orient 1, Reading 0.
Yeah, I'm going to back Orient as well. 0-0 at Peterborough last time's not the end of the world. When your winning run comes to an end with a draw, it's not the worst result. It seems winnable, doesn't it? I mean, Reading's result last week definitely caught me by surprise. They lost 3-1 at home to Stockport. Credit to Stockport for that. It's another big game in the playoff race. I mean, it'd be quite a disaster, really, for Reading to lose to Stockport and Orient, who are two teams right next to them. But I think they might. I'm going to go 2-1 to Orient. Just been so impressed. It's funny, actually, you mentioned, Orient did win at Reading earlier this season, and that was when every week we were saying, we like Richie Wellens, things are going to come good, because they started very slow, didn't they, Leyton Orient? But they're moving very nicely now. So we're both back in Orient, 2-1 and 1-0. I'm up first for Lincoln City versus Peterborough. Lincoln City got back to winning ways last week, didn't they? Was it 1-0 at Northampton? Yeah, it was. And Peterborough, well, we've just predicted them in midweek. Makes things a little bit tricky here. So Lincoln, 6 points off the playoffs, Ben. They're still involved. That playoff race definitely goes down to at least Rotherham. Peterborough, it sort of depends what they do against Exeter before this game. I like Lincoln for a clean sheet. I'm going to back them 1-0.
Yeah, I'm struggling here because it feels like I've gone all in on Peterborough to bounce back in the first game, which is tonight as we're recording. And I could look very silly if I go them to go back to back and just the run continues of poor result. So I am going to hedge my bets here and I'm going to go right down the middle, cover my backside here, and I'm going to go Lincoln 1, Peterborough 1, which would still represent some kind of turnaround in form for Peterborough, but means I don't have to completely throw all my chips in on them going back to back.
Stockport take on Crawley Town. Stockport, great win at Reading, and just need to follow it up with another win, don't they? Are you up first? You are, Ben.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure most people will have home win on this one, and Stockport is another one for your bingo card. They ain't going anywhere, and that was an important win, wasn't it, to get back to form, and they've laid such a good foundation that even after a poor run of results, that one win puts them in sixth, and they need to double down. As you've said, it's probably not a top four race, and they just want to get into fifth or sixth position there and be in the playoff hunt, and you would imagine they'll do so against Crawley. Shall I go comfortable? No. We'll just go work a day. Stockport 2, Crawley 0.
Oh, I thought you were going to nab what I've got written down there, Ben. I'm thinking similar to you. I'm just going to go Stockport 1-0. Okay. Crawley have a bit of fight about them, don't they? And they turn up and get something maybe when you least expect it. But the main thing is Stockport just need to get 3 points over the line. Whether it's 3-0 or 1-0, just follow up that win over Reading with another one, and they'll stay in that top six for another week. And just got to keep chucking points onto the total. So 2-0 and 1-0 to Stockport. Ben, Wigan Athletic versus Bristol Rovers next. Wigan, obviously, we've done predictions. We've both backed them to beat Burton on the Tuesday. Got to give Bristol Rovers a lot of credit. A great win against Barnsley. They're kind of like the opposite of Barnsley, where Barnsley are a team having a good season that have the odd bad result. Bristol Rovers don't seem to be doing great most of the time, but then they have the odd good result, and that was definitely one of them. Can they follow it up with something here? I'm going to go for a draw, Ben. We've both backed Wigan to win in midweek. I don't think 4 points would be a bad return for Wigan this week, and I want to give Bristol Rovers something after that good win last week. I'm going to go 0-0.
Yeah, I think I might. If this was at home, I might have been back in Bristol Rovers. It's difficult, this, isn't it? Because Bristol Rovers have had this little splurge, the back-to-back wins, and you could argue that's now the new manager getting his kind of claws in and things starting to work there. But then Wigan had that good win as well. So I guess I do like the draw as well, but maybe I'll just play tactically for the game and predict a different outcome to you. And I don't think I can predict an away win, even though, great couple of wins for Bristol Rovers. So let's go. I could be very wrong about it. I'm going to go for a second Wigan victory in the show. And I will go back to the bingo card and go for the clean sheet. Let's go Wigan 1, Bristol Rovers 0.
There you go. Wigan, so they won last week, and if your predictions come right, Ben, that'll be 3 wins on the spin for Wigan. Are they in the playoff race now?
In the playoffs soon, yeah.
The final game, Ben, you're up first for high-flying Wycombe Wanderers. Back to winning ways last week. They're at home to Northampton, and Northampton struggling, aren't they? Just above that bottom 4.
Yeah, it feels like a comfortable home win, doesn't it? I'm sure most people in the comments are going to be going down that route. And Wycombe now post Matt Bloomfield as well. I think it's a case of how many, isn't it? Shall we go for Wycombe to make a statement maybe? Or have they already kind of made the statement by... winning. Where did they win at the weekend? Remind me. At Mansfield. Yeah. I'll go 3-0. Wycombe 3, Northampton 0.
I like it. Yeah, I'm going to go heavy on Wycombe as well. Seeing as there's 15 games this week, I feel like I can just about sneak in one more bonus point. Yeah, I'm going to go 4-1 Wycombe. I think that win against Mansfield's a really good one. It's an impressive one. Mansfield, tricky to beat at their place. Mansfield had been in good form. And credit to Wycombe, because it just felt like with 1 or 2 players going, the manager going, and a couple of difficult results recently, that this could have been the point where things, turned sour. But they've sort of steadied the ship a little bit, haven't they? And, this is a nice winnable fixture where if they win and Wrexham lose to Birmingham, which is definitely possible, they could look a little bit more comfortable in that top 2. So, yeah, both backing them to win, and 3 points is 3 points, but both giving them a heavy win as well. And as for Northampton, a little bit concerned, but I don't know, Ben. I mean, you look at that race down at, well, I don't want to call it a race, they're not moving very fast, but the teams down at the bottom, the battle, you feel like Northampton could just get away with being okay-ish because the teams are not moving very fast at all behind them. But it only takes one to start putting a couple results together, doesn't it?
And you just bloody love Shrewsbury for that one. I mean, to be fair, when you look down and, I mean, if you do the very quick, what are my first instincts when I look at that table and I look at the form, Shrewsbury do pop out, don't they, with 8 points in their past 5 games, which is miles above what anybody else is doing down there. But we shall see. As I always say, the teams that are down there after 25, 26 games are down there for a reason. But Gareth Ainsworth and, the way he manages and the type of football he can produce, you could get that. You could get that run, and I think you and I have been thinking it's going to be the same 4 for the longest time already. So it'd be a nice surprise for us as well to be proved wrong about that, yeah? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it'd be interesting if we can get into the final couple of weeks with quite a lot still to play for. Guys, that does wrap up the League One predictions. Like I say, a slightly longer one this week. We had 3 games on Tuesday to predict as well. Be sure to get your predictions down below in the comments because this is Tuesday, so you've got to get your predictions in quickly for tonight's game. Make sure you've dropped a like on the video. Get involved and support us. Subscribe over here so you see our League One predictions every week, and your support is appreciated. Subscribe to Benjamin Bloom. It takes 2 seconds. It's the first link in the description. Otherwise, we'll see you for more League One predictions next week. And once again, a massive thank you for your support. Take care. Have a great week. Peace out.